So, what does feminism mean?
Well, I guess the Oxford Dictionary definition would be that feminism is the theory of promoting gender equality between males and females. However, I think that feminism has taken a different route nowadays, and the definition has been skewed to the worse.
Feminism means there is a study that represents the rights of women, but sometimes they take it to the extreme that instead of putting women in the eye of the society, like to take care of their rights, they take it to an extreme as they place women as a victim rather than helping their rights.
What does feminism mean? Well, that's a big question. Feminism, in my opinion, is all about the, how should I put this? Rejection of a patriarchal society in favor for one which is more equal, not equal, egalitarian.
Feminism is the equality between women and men in the political and gender spectrum in society.
Basically, feminism means women's rights in a snippet.
For me, I think feminism mostly means to be able to give women the right to be on an equal basis with men. There's other sex out there though.
Would you consider yourself to be a feminist, and why?
I would consider myself to be a bit of a feminist because I like defending women's rights, but I wouldn't consider myself to be a feminist because of the extremes I talked about before. Like, I expect women to be equal as men, and I don't think that women are less capable of doing things like in careers, and I think women are very multitasking and they can take care of a family and work and have a career. But at the same time, I think we're looked upon in an incapable way sometimes. That's where I put myself as a feminist, because I think we're not incapable.
Yes, because I think it's about time that we do have equal pay and equal rights, and we do get the same opportunities that the other gender does.
I would consider myself to be pro-feminism because equality is necessary. In my opinion, it is. I mean, there is always going to be certain levels of, how should I put this, conflict between women and men, by force. Unfortunately, we can see it in the workplace, we can see it at university, we can see it everywhere. I wouldn't consider myself a feminist simply because I don't know too much about feminism. Since I know about feminism, but I haven't really gotten into the literature and all that. But I am definitely pro-feminist.
Why don't you consider yourself to be a feminist?
Because from what I've seen so far, feminism has only been about mostly dehumanizing men and slandering them and thinking that they're nothing but rubbish. And most of it is simply like, we can't have gender equality, we need women to be more equal than men. And so far I've found that to be completely false and rubbish. I prefer calling myself an egalitarian, which means equality for everyone. It doesn't have to be from a female perspective. Like, if it's equality, why must it be from a feminine perspective? Why not just human perspective?
No, I don't consider myself to be a feminist because I don't see any reason to have feminism or a distinction in the first place.
I don't really believe in feminism for the simple reason that today it has gone to such an extreme where it's not about equality anymore, but it's about women's superiority in some form. So I would believe more in humanitism, I don't think it exists, which believes that everyone is basically on the same level. So we need to support men and children and whatever as much as we need to support women and to be on an equal basis.
And if there's one thing that would change about women's lives to make them better, what would it be?
I think education. I think most of the problems we have today with women and their rights is their lack of education and the understanding of what's going on around them, of the opportunities they have around them. So if there's one thing we really need to focus on to kind of empower women, it's to educate them, and not only just education in the sense like read and write, but education in the sense of what is out there in the world for us.
I think by nature we are a bit we have a bit of a disadvantage because since we are prone to have children and a family, I think that like if you had to have a career and you have to stop for 2 years to take care of your children, unfortunately, although it's a beautiful thing, I think that puts your career on a hold, whereas men don't have to stop for 2 years probably to take care of their children. So they have a bit of an advantage against a career, whereas we don't have that advantage. Although it's improving a lot, because now like men can take care of children as well, they can have also leave to take care of their children, but I think we still by nature are a bit disadvantaged in that sense.
Why should I change it for them? Why can't they just change it themselves? I mean, I think everything's okay for them, but if they find anything of a problem, yeah, they'll do it themselves. It's all about equality.
To be honest, I think, again, I go back to my second question. If there is no distinction in the first place, there will be no advantages or disadvantages or unfairness between each member of the society. So I wouldn't change anything. What I would say though is that there will be no, or this might in itself be a change, let's say. No distinctions in the first place. So we would remove from our dictionary women's rights, whatever, being male or female, basically.
It's not my choice to make, it's women's choice to make.
I mean, like the fact that they do get recognized as much as men do. I mean, like the fact that they'd ask you, for instance, in a job interview whether you want kids or not. They don't ask that for a man, and I think it's important for them to stop asking it for a woman, for them to have equal rights. I mean, it has to start from somewhere, and I think that's like something that's important, to stop asking these silly questions which can be easily avoided, and it has nothing to do with the employer anyway. So.
So, what does feminism mean?
Joking.
Why?
You're fucking joking me. Why? It sucks, the end. There's your VoxPop.
Obviously we're bonjour. Sorry.
So, this is bloopers. That was like so long. So, what does feminism mean? Is that?
I don't really know what to say.
6.5 hours later.
So